My name is Sabine Mirlesse. I work in sculpture, photography, writing, and installation. When I realized I was coming to AlUla, I had already been researching geomancy for the last couple of years in my practice, which essentially means different ways in which people use the earth to divine an answer to their question. And I realized that the word geomantia in Latin was actually translated originally from the Arabic. And this, to me, it seemed like almost perfect direction to explore. And so I began to do my research. I went to libraries in France, and I was in New York as well for another project. And so I took advantage and went to the public library there and sort of found all that I could about this subject in the context of the peninsula. And I came across this very interesting object from the 13th century, which resides currently in the British Library. And it's actually the only physical trace of geomancy in this part of the world. And so I decided to take inspiration from this 13th century device. My idea was to take inspiration from this device and look at its mechanism and modify it to sort of reflect this relationship between sight and the source, which I came to understand being here that in Arabic the word for eye is the same as a water source. The water source being of course the beginning of the oasis. I think for me, the people that I met that I thought were kind of the most will remain in my mind were the group of women that came to visit us when they invited us to then go and have dinner with them, and that they were gracious enough to include us in that as outsiders and to be between women. An intimate occasion to actually be able to visit with them and to listen to what they had to say, because it's very different when you're in a public space than when you're in that intimate space. I feel it was a very gracious moment. One of the things I noticed that was quite simple, but I found also had its own poetry, was they've been researching and sort of restructuring the coverings that protected the corridors in the old town, which they call tayara. And it had the fact that it's actually incomplete at this current state, because they are reconstructing it, it leaves these sort of traces on the mud walls that I was very drawn to, just because they looked like writing itself and it looked like something to be deciphered. I've never quite seen, a construction like that leaves that sort of traces on the wall. And so one of the most simple missions I thought that I could have here to go and just document that ended up becoming quite the adventure. And that was what I was able to use the darkroom for here, was by making contact prints with this light